Okay guys, today we'll be continuing on with section 3.2, adding fractions with different denominators. And this is part 2 of this section. Okay, so if you want, you can make a note of that in your notes and make a note that it's just a continuation. So you can write down part 2. Pause if you need a minute, and when you're done, let's move on. Okay, quick review. We're going to add fractions with different denominators. This is what this section's all about. And this comes from what we learned in the first part of this section. Okay, so for the first example here, I want you to follow along with me. For the second example here, you're going to try on your own, and you're going to write down your work in your notebook. Okay, so here we go. A review. First things first, we check. We're adding fractions. Do we have a common denominator? No, we do not. So we need to find a common denominator. So how can we make one of these fractions similar on the bottom? So we have 14 and 7. Well, we could multiply 7 by 2 to get 14. So that's what we'll do. 1 over 14. Okay, we just kept this fraction here. Bring over my plus. Plus. We want the same denominator here on the bottom. So we want to multiply our 7 by 2. I'm just going to make a note of that to get 14. That's great. That's where we want it. We want similar numbers on the bottom. So, but if we multiply our bottom by something, we got to multiply our top by something. The same something. So we got to multiply our top by 2. We had a 4 on top. 4 times 2 is going to be 8. And then when we're ready to add, we have common denominators. So we keep our denominator on the bottom. That was the reason for finding the same one. We keep that. And then we just add our top. 1 plus 8 is 9. Okay, now I want you to try this one on the bottom. Pause, and when you come back, we'll correct it. Okay, by now you should have tried this one on your own. So here's your answer. We want common denominators on the bottom here. Can we multiply this denominator 8 by anything to get 24? Yes, we can multiply 8 by 3. So 8 times 3 is 24. What do we do with the top? We had to multiply that by 3 as well. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 3 over 24. Bring over my plus. This fraction did not change. So 5 over 24. Do we have common denominators? Yes, so we're ready to add. Keep our denominators on the bottom. Add our top. 3 plus 5 is 8. So this is an answer, but can we simplify? Can we divide 8 and 24 by the same number? Okay, so if you still need to, you can come on down and find your factors. So factors of 8 are 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Factors of 24, 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. So do we have any, what's the greatest common factor here? We have 1 is common, 2 is common, 4 is common, and 8 is common. So 8 is our biggest common factor, so I'm going to use that one. So I'm going to divide my top by 8 to simplify, and my bottom by 8 to simplify. What's that going to simplify to? 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So 1 over 3 is our best answer. Okay, so moving on. No need to write this down, just follow along. What about this? We have 3 over 7 plus 1 over 5. Okay, so we're used to these two numbers being multiples of each other. So for example, we're used to having a 7 and a 14. That's easy. You're just going to multiply 7 by 2. Okay, or 8 and 24. You just multiply your 8 by 3 to get 24. But here, we can't make 5 into 7, and we can't make 7 into 5 by multiplying. So we can't make the denominators the same like before. We need to use a new strategy. So we need to find a common denominator. Remember, we can't add unless we have a common denominator. So we need to try to find the common denominator here, between 7 and 5. Okay, so pause. Quick review time. You're going to need these skills that I'm going to show you right now for adding fractions with different denominators. So do you remember what a multiple is? Multiple comes from grade 6 work. Okay, so multiples of 5, and I chose 5 and 7 because we're looking at these denominators here, 5 and 7. So multiples of 5, we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and so on. Okay, so how did I get these numbers? I just counted up by 5s, or I went 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 3 is 15, and so on. So what's the multiples of 7? 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 2 is 14, 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is 28, 7 times 5 is 35, and 7 times 6 is 42, 7 times 7 is 49, 7 times 8 is 56, and so on. Okay, so that's how we got those. We went up by 7s. That's all multiples are. You keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and going up by your number. So multiples of 5 goes up by 5s every time. Multiples of 7 goes up by 7 every time. So now, the trick for adding fractions and finding common denominators is to find the least common denominator. So common means it has to be found in this list, and common means it has to be found in this list. So it has to be found in both lists. So let's look. What do we have here that's found in both? 5 is not here. 7 is not here. 14 is not here. 21. Nope, not here. 28. No, it's not a multiple of 5. 35. Yes, we have 35. Okay, so I'm just going to put and mark by that. So we have 35 and 35. Those are our common, that's our common denominator, our common multiple there. So what is our least common multiple or least common denominator? Our least common denominator will be 35. Okay, and we're going to use this coming up adding fractions. But right now, I want you guys to just try this one on your own. Find the least common multiple of 2 and 10. So I want you to write this down. I want you to try this one first, and then press play. We'll do this together, and then I'll let you know when to start this one. Okay, so I want you to list down multiples of 2, multiples of 10, and find the least common one. Okay, by now you should have tried this one by yourself. Okay, so multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, we're just going up by 2s, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on. Okay, multiples of 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. Okay, so now what's common here? Do we have a 2? Nope. 4, 6, nope, we don't have a 6 in both. 8, nope, we don't have an 8 in both. Okay, 10. We have a 10 in both. 10 and 10. You could say that we have a 20 in both, but it's always best to use the smallest or the least common one. It'll just keep your numbers smaller down the road. Okay, so always pick your least one. So our common denominator there is 10. Okay, now I want you to give this one a try and write it down in your exercise book. Okay, by now you should have this one attempted. So multiples of 6 starts with 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, and 48. We're just going up by 6s every time. Okay, multiples of 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 6 is 48. And so on. So what's common here? We don't have a 6 here and here. Nope. 12. No. 18. No. 24. Yes, we have a 24 here. And a 24 here. That's common. And it is the least common multiple. So our answer is 24. So that's just a quick little review. Now moving on back to the grade 7 stuff. We will be using this skill in the next problem. Alright, so we're going to add fractions with different denominators. We have 3 over 7 plus 1 over 5. So we have to check, are we able to add these? No, because the bottom is not the same here. So we have to find the common denominator. So to find the common denominator, we find the common multiples here. So what's my multiples of 5? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and so on. Okay, I'll give you a second to write those down. Okay, and now we have multiples of 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 6 is 42, and so on. So do we have a common number here? No. Don't have 5, don't have 10, don't have 15, don't have 20, don't have 25, 30, 35. We got 35 in 5s, and we got 35 in 7s. So this is our common denominator, 35. Okay, so we want to get our denominators into 35s. We want a common denominator. So how do I change 7 here into 35? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 times 5 gives you 35. Okay, that's what we want. We want that on the bottom. So bring it down here. We're changing this fraction on the bottom to 35. Okay, but whatever we do to the bottom, we need to do to the top. So the top, we also have to multiply that by 5. So 3 times 5 is, now our top becomes 15. We bring down our plus. Okay, 5, we need to make that into 35. How did we do that? We multiply 5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We multiply our 5 by 7. That gives us the 35 we want in our denominator. 35. But whatever we do to the bottom, we need to do to the top. That's our rules of fractions. Okay, so 1 times 7 is 7. So that's step 2 completed. Now, you guys have already practiced adding things with common denominators. Okay, so your rule is to add the numerators, add your top, and keep your bottom. Okay, so we're going to keep our bottom, 35. We didn't go through all that trouble to find a common denominator to change it. We want to keep it. Okay, and then 15 plus 7 is 22. Okay, and you check and see if that can be simplified. In this case, it cannot. Okay, so that seems like a lot, but we're just putting together some skills that you already know. You know how to find common denominators or common multiples. Okay, so then that's step one. You know how to do that. You're just putting that as step one. Step two, okay, you're changing it, and we've already had a little bit of practice with that in the first part of this lesson. And then you're just remembering your rules. Keep your bottom, add your top. Okay, so we're putting together those three steps, and they come together to give you adding fractions with different denominators. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, another example. All right, 3 over 4 plus 1 over 5. I'm going to go a little bit quicker through this one. Find the common denominator. We cannot add because we do not have a common denominator here. So we're going to find our multiples. So multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and so on. Okay, so write that down. Take a second. Okay, our multiples of 5 are easy. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, so on. So what do we have common here? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. We have 20 is common. So that's our common denominator. So we want that on the bottom. Okay, so we want 4 to become 20. How do we do that? We multiply 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 times 5. Whoops. 4 times 5. Okay, so 4 times 5 is 20. But whatever we do to the bottom, we need to do to the top. So we need to multiply our top by the same thing. So multiply our top by 5. 3 by 5 is 15. Bring down our plus. We need this to become 20 so that we have the same number on the bottom. To get 5 to become 20, we multiply it by 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. But whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do to the top. So we multiply our top by 4 as well. And 1 times 4 is 4. Now we're ready to add because we have the same number on the bottom here. So we add the top, keep the bottom. Add the top, 15 plus 4 is 19. And we keep the bottom, 20. Check and see if it can be simplified. No, it cannot. So that is our final answer. Okay, make sure you have that example written down before you move on. Okay, now I want you to try 4 over 9 plus 1 over 2. So pause the video, try all 3 steps, and when you come back, we'll correct it together. Okay, so by now you should have this one done. So quickly, first step, can we add these together? Nope, we have different denominators, so we need to find a common denominator. Okay, so we need to find multiples of 9. And multiples of 2. Okay, so multiples of 9 are 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. And so on. 2's. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on. Okay, so those are our multiples, and if we look here, we have a common denominator. We have 18 here and 18 here. So 18 is our common denominator. So we need 18 on the bottom. How did we make 9 into 18? Well, 9 times 1, 2. Okay, whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do to the top. So 4 times 2 is 8. Bring down our plus. We need 2 to become 18, our common denominator. So how do we make 2 into 18? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We multiply by 9. That will give us our common denominator, but whatever we do to the bottom here, we have to do to the top. So 1 times 9 is 9. Now we add the numerators and keep the denominator. So add 8 plus 9 is 17. And we keep the denominator here. Check and see if we can simplify. No, we cannot. We are good. Okay, now I want you guys to do your worksheet. That's our lesson on adding fractions with different denominators. We're going to do a lot of practice with this. Okay, so good luck with the worksheet. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know. Do not be afraid to ask questions about the videos if you're finding the topic difficult. Okay, so good luck with the worksheet.